Mastering high-performing teams with Kirk Peterson. Weekly insights and expert strategies to help leadership teams become high-performing teams.
Nick Del Santo here, joined by Kirk Peterson, the Managing Director of Performance Shift. Kirk, tonight I want to speak to you about the importance of alignment. We're going to speak a lot about this because I feel like all businesses need to be aligned, and you've spoken about that in the past. Can you elaborate on how you create this alignment in a high-performing team, please?
Yeah, so the first thing is to make sure your team is aligned.
Yep.
And therefore, team needs to be aligned to what? So the first thing is, what is the team's objective? What is this team trying to achieve? And if you don't start with that, we'll misaligned day one. So we need to go, we call it the North Star, which is what are we trying to achieve? Now, sometimes it's really easy because it's anecdotal or it's fiscal. Other times it's not. And if it's a support division or a sharing division, well, it may not be so simple to articulate, but it needs to be articulated so people can understand what's the purpose of us coming to work.
In the sporting world, you hear a lot about values and how that links into culture. How important is values, and what does that look like in the business world?
Values are so overdone in the corporate world, it's not funny.
Yeah.
Everyone's got values and no one has a clue what they are. Having them at reception, having them in a tender document is not what I'm talking about. We do not need values. What we need values for is to make values into behaviours. You can't manage a value. I can't manage innovation. I can't manage accountability. I can't manage integrity. But I can manage what's the definition of integrity and what the behaviours we are aligning to that falls at the bottom end that we are expected to do as a team. So values are good, but so are Lamingtons. Values are good. What I want are behaviours. Behaviours are the things that are, and I know this is an incorrect statement, but it's like an adjective sentence. I know that's incorrect, but it's an adjective which is a doing word, a doing sentence. It says, I need you, for example, innovation, I need you to challenge the status quo. That I can understand. Integrity, does it mean to be open? Does it mean to be honest? Does it mean transparency? I'm not sure, but whatever you agree to, it's the behaviour that you can manage, not the value that you can manage.
I know a little bit about psychological safety in the sporting world and a little bit in the business world. If you want to have this alignment, how important is psych safety in the workplace?
Well, one, it's critical, but two, that's next week's session as well.
Fantastic.
Okay? Because if you don't have people speaking up, the chances of misalignment are much higher. And people also talk about introverts versus extroverts here. And I say, if you want to be a player in the team, you got to learn to speak up. So you can't just hide behind, I'm an introvert or I'm an extrovert. Extroverts sometimes need to listen more, and introverts need to listen to speak up more.
I like that. We're going to learn a lot next week. So just to recap on that, we're going to be speaking about psychological safety, and there's a handful of pillars and things that we need to know next week from you, Kirk. I'll give you a week to get prepared for that because I feel like this is a big pillar for us to go forward and to move forward. I want to know about your quote, though, this week. What can you share with us in regards to alignment of a high-performing team?
So it's an acronym for FOCUS, and it stands for Follow One Course Until Successful. You need to be aligned, you need to be tenacious, and you need to be directed towards something. But I want to ask you a quick question before you go.
Of course.
You coach the AFLW team.
I do.
Tell me, how important are behaviours for you?
Very important. Now, just reflecting on what you said in regards to the business world, it is exactly the same, not probably more important or less important, but everything is about your behaviours that align with your values, in my opinion, that builds culture. And that's something that I'd love to ask you about in a future episode. How important are these areas that align together for a common cause, in your words, the North Star, to achieve a common goal or outcome? Always appreciate your time. Love chatting to you. Thanks, Kirk.
Pleasure. Visit performanceshift.com.au and as a first step, take our free mini team assessment to begin unlocking your team's potential. Shift your mindset, shift your performance.